Red Sox fans have long been hearing the Boston Red Sox are world champions. This is going to be a tough play. It's over. And the Cubs have finally 8-7-10.
Woo! Welcome to the best sports podcast on the planet. I am your host, Brandon Combs. Man, what a wild day of football it was again. Week 2 did not disappoint. It was just as crazy as week 1 was. We'll get to all that in a minute. Normally, this is where I would introduce Soup Boss, but Soup Boss had to do some family stuff, so he will not be joining us tonight. But I am joined by none other than Michel Buchheister of the Mike and Mike Man Hour. Buck, how's it going?
Oh, what is up, man? I am relieved, to be honest with you, man. Like, I was sitting on eggshells there for last hour or so watching my Kansas City Chiefs play. And wild day of football is right, man. Like, it was exciting. I love football, and this is why. Any given Sunday, anybody can win. It's absolutely amazing.
Hey, look, I was having this argument with Chad talking through Messenger here just a few minutes ago, and I said before the season started, we made our predictions, and I said, you guys, everybody is sleeping on the Chargers. They're going to be better than people thought. They're not going to be a playoff team. They're going to be an 8-8 team, but they are better than people thought. I think he doesn't agree with me, but I think through the first 2 weeks, San Diego or the Los Angeles Chargers now are proving that they are better than people thought that they were.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the whole AFC West is kind of underrated too. We'll be honest. Let's look at these slate of games here. The Denver Broncos went toe to toe with the Pittsburgh Steelers, which like people are riding high on the Steelers. Like, I believe Benz has them at like number 6 on our NFL Power rankings, and the Broncos hung. They don't have Von Miller, their running back got hurt. He's out 2 to 3 weeks. Drew Lock is out at least 4 weeks with a shoulder injury, and then their top receiver had a off game. He I forget the name who they got in the draft, but he dropped 3 or 4 key passes like in the game. And then you look at the Las Vegas, I've been on the Oakland, Los Angeles, Las Vegas Raiders now for a while. Either they're going to be really, really good or really, 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 really bad. There's no 8-8 point for the Las Vegas Raiders. And right now, Monday night, we could see them upset the New Orleans Saints, and they could be a really, really good team. And much what you said here, the Chargers, they were 13-3 just 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They moved on past their quarterback. They had that same team. The only thing that they had different from that team is a quarterback. And they had a rookie quarterback come in, did not expect to start, but what's his name? Tyron Taylor got hurt right before the game or during pregame. So Herbert got
lost
hurt.
His starting job.
Yeah. I mean, let's be honest.
Starting job.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, so guys, look at. I would not be surprised if the Super Bowl champions doesn't come out of the AFC West, not because of my Kansas City Chiefs, because of the Broncos, because of the Raiders, because of the Chargers. Very, very deep division.
Yeah. All right, so Mike, so this is how we run things here. So we like to start our show off every week with Shop Talk, and now Shop Talk is one of our segments where we just interact with the fans. The fans come in, they give us our stuff. We talk with them. We talk about the things that we want to talk about as well, which today is, it's obviously going to be a whole lot of football in the show today. We are going to go through some baseball and get to some hockey and basketball real quick too. But I definitely want to talk. I want to talk about my Bears 2-0 and still don't have a quarterback. So I definitely want to get to that. But first things first, Shop Talk. Shop Talk's presented by BigDogPoker.net. Use agent code GoCubsGo when you sign up for BigDogPoker.net. That is a $50 deposit when you sign up for BigDogPoker.net, and you use agent code GoCubsGo. All right, so our Shop Talk segment here, we like to get the fans in. Tim Leonard chimes in, says good evening. Tim's going to join us here in a minute, man. We went head to head on 3 games, and I lost 2-1 this week. We're going to go head to head every week. I lost 2-1. The Steelers pissed me off because the Steelers went out. They should have been the game that I won. The Steelers won, but I had them plus 7.5. Or minus 7.5, I should say.
Yeah, it was a 21 was the score. Something like that.
And James Conner has a run at the end of the game, and he gets to the 10-yard line and gets tired and gets caught from behind. And I'm screaming. I'm like, no, that's my game. I couldn't believe it. But so Tim's going to come on. He's going to talk some crap, I'm sure. He went 2-1. We did have a side bet on a.
I see there on that comments.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he's an LSU guy. He's an LSU guy. He is an Atlanta Braves fan. And I believe, if I'm correct, don't get mad at me if I'm wrong, Tim, but I believe because he's an Atlanta guy, I think he's a Falcons fan too. So if he is, I hope he doesn't come too. I hope he doesn't come too hot at me because I got some fire for him. But yeah, so look, man, football was absolutely crazy today. You know, so many things were happening back and forth, and then you had the Chargers game. You had the Jaguars played insanely close with Tennessee. Yeah. Won that game or lost that game by 3. The Giants, their entire starting 11, I think, is on the IR now.
Same with the 49ers. Shit.
Yeah. The Niners, they got. I mean, who they lost. The Bosa went down. They think he tore an ACL.
Yep.
They lost. Garoppolo went down with an ankle injury. They lost Mostert. He went down. I mean, they were getting obliterated. I did not see the Colts beating Minnesota at all, let alone beating them like they did. I'm not high on Indianapolis at all. I think that you take a quarterback, and I've said this before. We've had a couple of the other guys on, and from Twist there, we have them on every week, talk about their power rankings and stuff. And they had the Colts to start the season. And my big problem with that is Phillip Rivers. Phillip Rivers, in his last couple of seasons with San Diego, looked like a quarterback that was just absolutely lost. And he had way more weapons than he has in Indianapolis. He doesn't have quite the offensive line that he has in Indianapolis, but he had way more weapons. He had a better run game. He had better wide receivers in San Diego. He was just better off with the Chargers, and he just looked lost. And so I'm just not high on them. I think today, they went out and they did their thing, but I still have them as a 6-win team.
Well, let me address that because I'm high on the Colts as well. I mean, I think I had them going 10-6 on the season and winning that AFC South, mainly because the AFC South looks a lot weaker than what it has in years past. But Phillip Rivers, you are forgetting that he led the Chargers to 13-3 season just a couple years ago. The only reason why they weren't Super Bowl champions that year was because the Kansas City Chiefs won that division and they had to travel to Baltimore, I believe. No. It was New England that first week, and I believe that was the year that the Patriots won the Super Bowl. Yes. And then the last year, they were kind of just checked out. I mean, that offense was a very conservative offense. You didn't see him really push the ball down the field all that much, or like anything. And then he comes to Indy. A very tough place to play at home with or without fans, even though they have 2,500 fans there. I think it was a day or something ridiculous. Right. That's really stupid. But regardless, Phillip Rivers is going to give the Indianapolis Colts a little something to push them over that edge this year and get to the playoffs. Maybe may not make some noise in the playoffs by any means, but they're definitely going to get there. But the biggest concern that I have for the Colts right now is Mac did go down. I believe his is Achilles injury, if I'm not mistaken. So he's probably out for the season, lock as well. But they performed really, really well versus a pretty horrible Minnesota Viking team. See, man, everybody's down on the Minnesota. They're not a horrible team. I mean, 5-12. Sorry, yeah, 5, I get 5-11. My bad. Yeah, no, I don't think they're 5-11. I had them the other way at 11-5. I think I was wrong there. I think I overestimated them, just like I think I overestimated the Philadelphia Eagles. That was a good mix of fire too. Yeah, I just so
Then I was watching, obviously for me, I was watching the Bears during the early games. I'm a big Bears guy. And in the first half, I'm actually texting Soup Boss, and I'm saying, look, Trubisky, I'm usually down on him, but he's actually not playing too bad right now. First drive, Robinson saved him on the first pass of the drive. That one probably could have been picked, but Robinson went up and got it. And then after that, man, that touchdown pass they threw was a great check down. Second drive, Miller dropped a perfectly placed ball in the end zone that resulted in a field goal, but it was a perfect throw, which I don't say often by Mitch Trubisky, but it was in a perfect spot, and Miller just dropped it.
Right.
And then the drive touchdown to Mooney was a duck, but Mooney went out and got it. But that play was kept alive by Trubisky, and that's the only reason he went there. And then the second half happened, man. And Mitch Trubisky finally woke up and said, "Hey, I'm Mitch Trubisky."
Right.
And I mean, just forcing balls to Robinson, looking at him the entire way. Ball gets picked off. Drive ends on a pass to the next drive ends on a pass that receiver has zero chance on. Third drive, Demetrius Harris has the defender beat, and he overthrows him by 15 feet. What bugs me the most is that the Bears are 2-0, and I'm pissed.
Right.
I'm pissed because they should have lost last week, and the way Trubisky played in the first three quarters of that game, there was no way Nick Foles wasn't taking over, and then Trubisky led that drive. And now this week, they did so well, and they played against a pretty bad Giants team, and they were up 17 points, and they were able to hold on to that lead and win 17-13. So Trubisky's going to play again in week 3.
Right.
So I'm getting to the point now where I'm just like, man, Trubisky is hot garbage, but the defense is so good, and he does just enough to help you win. And he's really starting to make Soup Boss look like a genius, because Soup Boss says he's going to do just enough to make them win in the first 4 games.
Exactly.
And then Nick Foles is going to come over.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah. So Mitchell, he reminds me a lot of Alex Smith when he came to Kansas City his first year. He was simply there to manage a game, not to lose us games. He wasn't going to go out and bring us from 28 points down to win a game, but he wasn't going to give up a 28-point lead either. And right now, I think Mitchell Trubisky is kind of in that game management role. Yes, they did come back. What was it, 20 points versus the Lions? I do believe, and then they held on to the win today versus a horrible Giants team with Saquon Barkley out for the year now with the torn ACL as well. 29 yards in a 2020 season. That's rough for.
That's a different game too. If Saquon Barkley's in that game, the Bears might lose today if Saquon Barkley.
Yeah. So, but competition brings out the best in any competitive athlete, right? So that was probably the best things that the Bears could have done. Yes, they maybe overpaid for a backup quarterback in Nick Foles, but Nick Foles is pushing Mitchell Trubisky to be the quarterback that he was when they missed that kick in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Does he excel into a top 10 quarterback in the league? That's tough saying. Yeah, I mean, by week 4, week 5, and I think we'll get a pretty good judgment of that. But he is definitely not hot garbage anymore, as you say. I mean, I
don't know
am
how you
starting
can
to
say
change my tune. I mean, I'm starting to change my tune a little bit on the Bears. I believe I had them going 3-13 this season, or 4-12. I cannot remember for sure.
But they're almost there.
Yeah. I mean, but. I got who the Bears have next week? It's
Atlanta.
It's Atlanta. So I mean, we saw Atlanta. They are trash. I mean, they get what 26-point lead today. And
but you know what? They scored 39, and if you score 39 against the Bears, you're going to win the game by 3 scores with Mitch Trubisky at quarterback.
We'll see next week.
Trubisky just can't score points. He can't score points. He throws a lot. He has a lot of bad balls. I think that Atlanta has a much better defense than the Giants do, even though it didn't show late in the game against Dallas today. As I started having flashbacks of the Super Bowl. It was so bad. But yeah, then the Bears get so they got Atlanta and Indianapolis in the next 2 weeks. So, man, I see them having a bad day against Atlanta, and then having a bad day against Indianapolis. And then I think week 5, you might come out and see Nick Foles. I think Trubisky's got a really, really tight leash, and he hasn't performed extremely great this far. And they've just come lucky and gotten away with 2 victories. They should have lost in Atlanta. All right, so they should have lost and they should have won in Atlanta. With a quarterback last week in Atlanta, they win that game by 3 scores. He missed so many passes in the first 3 quarters of that game and they were touchdown pass. Like he misses. And so you have a guy like that who they should have won, but then they should have lost too, because late in that game when Swift drops that damn touchdown pass that I could have caught,
wow.
I mean, they should have lost that game. And so I think he's got a short leash. I don't think Trubisky last pass. If he beats Atlanta and he beats Indy and he's finding ways to win, I'm okay with it. At that point, it's kind of like
winning cures all, right?
Yeah. Well, who was that? I can't think of his name now. Wayne G's favorite quarterback of all time,
Tom
quarterback
Brady
from Florida, that came out and played for Denver, but everybody said he wasn't a quarterback.
Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow. Thank you. But yeah, so he's reminding me of Tebow. If you're going to find a way to win, just keep winning. I don't care. Right. I mean, he was 12-4 2 years ago.
Yeah, and the Bears bye week is what, like week 10, I think it is. Is that when I'm
something like that? If I remember correctly, I'd have to check here.
I think if they are treading water by week 10, they're like a 500 team.
Yeah.
After the bye week, I would not be surprised if Nick Foles came in there just to shake things up like a little bit, just depending on.
I think he'll be in way before that. So you got Falcons, Colts, Buccaneers, and Panthers and Rams are your next 4 games.
I see 1-4 there. Yeah, 1-4, 1-5 easy right there.
Yeah, and then the Titans and then the Vikings. So it's not going to get any. You're not playing a cream puff schedule this year. You don't have an easy schedule. Right. I picked them. I was high on them. I said they were going to lose the first 2 games, and then Foles was coming in week 3, and they were going to be 11-5. I think that they probably lose next week to Atlanta, who's got to come out and do something, because the way that they lost today, they've got to come out. They've got to rebound from that. Otherwise, they're going 0-16. Like they're if they don't rebound from that and then they lose to Mitch Trubisky, they're done. I mean, their confidence will be shot. There's no recovering from that.
Well, the one positive thing about the Falcons is they do have a fairly easy schedule. Like I believe they have like the 27th ranked schedule in the league this year, so they could easily go start 0-3, 0-4, and then make a late run and become that 7th seed in the playoffs easy.
Yeah, I just, man, I don't like if Trubisky keeps winning though, and winning like this, it's going to be one of those seasons where they win a lot, and I'm just not going to like it. I mean, I want the kid to do well. I want him to come out and be like, hey, all of the people that are down on me, all the people that said that I couldn't do it, watch this.
Right.
And just have a game where he goes 31 for 40 and just lights the world up. But he doesn't have it in him. Like, he just doesn't. He's not going to beat teams like the Saints. You're not going to beat teams like the Buccaneers. I mean, you're probably not going to beat the Colts. You're probably not going to beat. You'll be lucky to beat the Panthers the way you're playing football right now.
Panthers don't look bad though right now.
No,
although Christian McCaffrey's hurt
today.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Bjorn chimes in here. Aaron Jones with 43 points. Yep. I lost. I lost a game today because I was facing a guy who had Matt Ryan and Aaron Jones. Matt Ryan, even though they lost today, had 30 fantasy points, and Aaron Jones had 48 in the league that I'm in. So he had a little bit more than what he had in your league, Bjorn. But yeah, right off the bat, I was down by 78 points. So I was just checking up a prayer at that point. I still got Drew Brees going tomorrow night, but still, he's got.
I had Aaron Jones too, so I was pretty happy about that.
Yeah, yeah. I did not take Aaron Jones. There's another team, man, that has to deal with an injury, and I haven't heard how severe it was. But Devontae Adams went down for Green Bay.
I didn't hear anything about that yet.
Yeah, so with Devontae Adams going down, if he doesn't come back, if he's out for any lengthy period of time, man, Green Bay's really going to be hurting. And even though they're 2-0 right now,
they're fine. They got Aaron freaking Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers makes people around him better, just much like what Tom Brady did with all those receivers in New England.
Aaron Rodgers is the most overrated quarterback in the NFL.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I bet you wouldn't be saying that if he played for the Bears right now. You guys are 2-0.
If you played for the Bears right now, I'd be happier with my quarterback than I am right now.
No, you wouldn't.
So.
That's old arm shot.
Thoughts on the Titans 2-0 start. So, yeah, look, the Titans are the Titans. I think that they are showing right now that last year wasn't a fluke. I had them winning the division at 9-7. Didn't have them setting the world on fire, but they look good so far. They did go out and beat the Jaguars, and I can't remember who they beat in week
Broncos.
1. The Broncos. So they haven't really played elite competition yet. But no, they've got a nice team. Tannehill looks a lot better than he looked in Miami through the first 2 games, and even through last year. He just looks more comfortable in this offense. Maybe it's because you got King Henry running behind you, who Michel Buchheister had as the 7th best running back heading into this year. But
he's had 2 games.
Yeah, hey, look, yeah, 2 games, and you know what? Who else were you high? Oh yeah, that's right. You were high on the Detroit Lions too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they may have started 0-2, and they may have scrambled away a game against the Bears. The Packers handed them a big L, but I had them losing to the Packers the first game anyways. The Lions have a very favorable schedule, but let's talk about the Titans here real quick. They are an habitual 8-8 team. The only reason why they made such a big run last year was because they just happened to get hot at the right time. That is what's so special about the NFL is any team can get hot at the right point, win 4 or 5 games in a row, be clicking on all cylinders once the playoffs hits, and you win 2 games and you're in the AFC Championship game. So, yes, it's hard, but it isn't that hard either. Just get into the playoffs and play and play one best game, and you are all of a sudden you're a top 8 team in the NFL. Now look at the Titans schedule moving forward. The Vikings, they travel to Vikings. I think they will lose that game because the Vikings, they are bound to not start 0-3. And then they go against a very good Steelers team, the best, probably, let's say top 3 defense in all of NFL. And then they play the Bills. Those 2 games there will tell you where the Tennessee Titans stand. Are they a 10-6 team or are they a 7-9 team? Yeah. Those 2 games right there will tell you it.
I still think they're a 9-7 team. I still think that they will win the division because it's not a very strong division. So I still have them winning the division. Still have them at 9-7. I think that I didn't have them. I did. I had them at 2-0 heading in. Now that I look at the sheet here. So I had them at 2-0. I have them losing those 2 games that we just talked about. But I do have them at 9-7. I think that they're still that team. They're good enough to win that division for sure. Right. Bjorn chimes in too. Sorry, one more. Is Taylor done? And say, look, we just talked about this at the top of the show briefly, but I don't think there's any way you have Herbert come in and start like that and perform that well as a rookie against a top 2 team in the AFC and the defending Super Bowl champions and perform like that and then sit them week 3. I don't think you can do that. I don't think you're that married to Tyrod Taylor that you don't give Herbert the starting job, which he's clearly shown that he's ready for.
So just to give you some, I guess, breaking news per se, this is per ESPN, Adrian Gonzalez here. Obviously Tyrod Taylor got scratched from the start because he was having chest pains before the coin toss and they took him to the hospital. He was having a heart attack type like pains and stuff like that. And the Chargers head coach says that he is our starter moving forward, no matter how well Justin is playing.
All right. So I guess that answers your question, then, Bjorn. I wouldn't do it. I would keep Herbert in there. I don't think you're that married to Tyrod Taylor, and I think you go forward seeing what you have in Herbert, and who had a really good showing against, again, a top 2 team in the AFC, probably the best team in the AFC as they've proven so far. So
let me tell you, because Justin Herbert is a rookie still at the end of the day. you didn't want to throw him into this gauntlet of a schedule that they have coming up if you don't have to. Because if you lose the confidence of a rookie quarterback in the first 3-4 games of the season, his career might be over. Look at Ryan Leaf. They threw him right into the fire. Looked great his first game. Pretty bad his second game. And then you're like, Ryan Leaf who? Right? So you don't want that happen to a person like Herbert. So if Tyron Taylor is, healthy and able to play and, not serious injury by like any means, I think you have to stick with him because you are in a growing plane. Like you do have a new quarterback. You have a new system. You are going to quote air out the ball more, right?
Yeah.
Work out your kinks with a quarterback that doesn't mean as much to you than your first round pick.
Right.
Sit until at least week 10 or a week 11 until you're out of the playoffs like 100%. Then let him grow.
Right.
Kind of like a redshirt year.
All right. So we talked about how we were 2-1, and we are going to come right now to Professor Leonard, Professor Leonard, cracking up over here. What's going on, Professor? What I miss?
Oh, Patriots just intercepted the ball and just ran it back for a touchdown.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh man, I got the Cubs game on in the background, so
I got no games on.
One. Yeah.
Hey, Buck,
I perfectly set up my line of view, so I've got the camera right here and the TV's right behind it. So I watch games all day long while I do this because that way I don't have to listen to Soup Boss all the time. But all right, so Professor
That's
Leonard,
why you're so bad.
We went on and we did our picks for 3 games. We actually had a side bet on the 4th game, so technically we were 2-2 today. But for the show's sake, on the picks that we made on the show on air, you are 2-1. You took the Broncos plus 7.5. Steelers won that game, and Connor James became my least ever running back because he got caught from behind by 2 damn defenders while he had a breakaway, and he could have freaking won the damn game for me, but instead, now I'm sitting here with you down 2-1. So go ahead, talk all you want. So let's go. You were right about the Colts. You were right about. Let's go. Go ahead. All right. No, your turn. Go ahead.
If I could quote a philosopher.
Oh my God.
I was following Professor Leonard's picks until he said the Colts, and I put my pen down.
Yeah, that was me.
I don't want to tell you I told you so.
Yep.
I went 11-3 today overall with my spreads. Today was a good day. You asked me who my team is. This is the 5th time I'm telling you.
Who's your team? Oh, you're a Titans guy. Okay.
That's why I took the side bet with the plus 7 with the Titans.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you don't have a QB. I don't have a 4th quarter defense. There you go. So
I've got 7-minute Mitch, man. He was, but to see this time he was good for the first 7 minutes, and he was horrible for the final 7 minutes. So
hey, he cannot guarantee you when the 7 minutes are going to occur in the actual game.
That's what his wife says too. I don't know. All right, so let's go. So where were your surprises today? Where were your 3 losses?
Titans was one of my losses today, not just with you, but in my overall picks. The second one was Dallas again. And then believe it or not, the third one was Miami.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
Those are my 3. All your opinions and comments about Trubisky, I can say the same for Fitzpatrick. Like, he's playing just well enough to stay in and not have Tua come in. He's he's staying relevant just long enough and keeping the team within a scoring distance so that Tua doesn't have to come in. But overall, I called the Colts. I wanted to text you at halftime, but I would have because because I said, one of my comments is that you guys had all this talk about Phillip Rivers not producing and even going to the Colts. It's still going to be the same Phillip Rivers. And my comment to you and Soup Boss, well, you can say the same thing for Kirk Cousins. You guys shot me down. I think both Phillip Rivers and Kirk Cousins are both inconsistent quarterbacks in terms of games. However, with that being said, I told you to take that spread, and you laughed at me.
Yeah.
And B,
and then I lost money on it.
And B, I'm so happy. Yeah. And B, right? And B, you told all your listeners, right? Don't take this bet. And what would have happened?
We lost money on it.
I told you. You have to look past the players and look at the data sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, look, I get what you're saying. If they're playing again next week, I'm still taking the Vikings. That's just
Vikings versus Colts. You're sticking the Vikings again?
Yeah, I take the Vikings again. I just would look. I
Vikings
think
are 5-11 this year.
I think that the Vikings are still finding themselves, but once they get going, I think they're going to click on all cylinders, and I think they're going to be a tough team to stop.
You're right. They will week 14.
No, you're giving them way too much credit there, Buck, man. Listen, no, they're going to find themselves in 2024 when they have the number one draft pick again, but they're going to trade it away.
Oh, my God.
And that number one draft pick is going to come from Floyd Central High School by the name of Tristan Polk. Watch out, guys.
So you texted me earlier, and you said, hey, next week we got to pick better games.
So
Soup Boss picked these games, so I'll let him know that he's got to pick better games this week for us to go with. They were tough games, man.
It wasn't that they were bad games. It was just that
the spread was tough.
The spread was tough only in the aspects of there was no consistency in the actual numbers, right?
Yeah.
So you want to bring up the Broncos and the Steelers, right? That game, as I even told you,
I thought I had it in the bag in the first half.
Well, that's what you get for thinking. Number one. But no.
I like this guy.
that's why I told people to stay away from that game. Do not touch that spread. Walk away from that spread. There's just too many what ifs in that game. But no, the games were fine, especially for the challenge that we're doing for this season. However, I want to ask this live, and then you can ask Soup Boss. Whoever wins the previous week can pick one of the games the following week.
I'm down with that. That's fine.
So if Soup Boss is picking next week, then you will pick two games, and then I will pick the third game.
Yeah.
Or if you're gonna be picking next week, then Soup Boss will pick the two games, and then I will pick the third game.
All right.
So whoever wins the previous week gets to pick a game
for next week. All right.
Yep.
I'm good with that.
I got a question before you move on to things here. My general rule of thumb, if I put money on like any games, is anything over 7.5 point spread, I steer away from that 100% because Vegas is trying to trap you. Yes. Is that kind of your point of view there too?
Negative. It's all about the numbers. You can ask Combs there about my spreadsheet that I have.
Fucking list is down long. It was
11-3 is good.
11-3. It was a good week. Not all my bets are for money. It's also for items. So I have collected some new items. But to answer your question, no, it's not always about the spread. Perfect example, when Combs and I first talked, the Titans were at a +9. I thought wholeheartedly, based off the numbers, that the Titans were going to, give it to the Jags today, which they did for 3 quarters and 2 minutes into the fourth quarter. For whatever reason, yeah. But with that being said, not necessarily no. Take the Cowboys and the Falcons game, right? The original spread, I think, was something was a 4.5. I think was the original, right? That's a terrible spread, in my opinion, right? If it was lower, like a a 3 or a 3.5, then there's a little bit more meat on the bone. So it basically comes down to the spread versus the numbers in terms of who's actually playing. So for example, I was high on Broncos on the Broncos defense, right? I said that it was going to be a closer game, and the Broncos was going to help overall keep the Broncos in the actual game today, which actually occurred. So again, it depends on the team, on the numbers. I mean, there's a number of things, but to be scared of a spread, I mean, you want to make a logical choice, but with me and Combs also know this, the numbers don't lie. And if they do lie, it's very short margin that when they do lie.
Right.
Yeah, see, I'm of the same mindset as you, Buck. If I see a spread that is 7.5, it's hard for me to not take the points, because 7.5 points in the NFL is a lot of points.
Yeah,
and very. I mean, you do get your blowouts, you do get your games that don't end up well, and I mean, I think I would always give up the points, or I would always give up the points if I'm betting against the Atlanta Falcons. I think they always find a way to go ahead and screw you over, even though they did help me out today with the +4, but still. All right, so Professor Leonard, we'll get you on again on Thursday. We will have 2 more games, and then you'll get to pick one, and we'll see if you can keep your winning streak going or if I can come back.
So I just want to ask this one question. So,
Yeah,
so you're still high on the Vikings, right?
I still like the Vikings, yes. I think I overrated them a little bit. I don't think they're going to be 11-5, maybe 9-7, 10-6, but yeah.
Okay, all right. Do you know who the Vikings are playing next week?
I do not. Packers? No, they just played the Packers.
I can tell you in a minute.
Titans? Okay, so the Titans. All right. Well, man, that's a tough one too. What's the spread on that one? 2?
For
Titans
now.
are favored?
For now.
All right.
For now.
All right. We'll think about that one.
So, hey, remind me when I come on next time, when Soup Boss is on why he forgot to call me when he was so adamant that the Chiefs and the Vikings were such a lock and that, take that to the bank. And I said, oh, really? You should call me then. He never called me.
Yeah, he got mad at me too because I said, hey, I told you that the Chargers were better than people thought. And he said, oh, you're out of your mind. And then he came up with something about how the Browns must be better than the Chiefs because the Cincinnati barely lost to the Chargers, and then the Browns beat the Bengals. And I was like, I don't know how that works, but you can't do that. And he said, yes, I can. And so we'll let him argue with himself since he's not on the show tonight. But
so here's the thing: who are the only 2 teams that gave Chiefs a little bit of a headache last year?
The Chiefs,
mm-hmm.
Well, the Titans and the Texans did too.
Well, okay, but the other team that's in their division,
Chargers and Raiders.
Yeah. So.
That's the beauty of sports, and I think you guys can agree. Baseball, basketball, no matter if it's the number 1 team playing the last place team.
Yep.
There's always those 2 teams that when they play each other, you don't know what's going to happen.
Oh,
they can have the best record. They can have
on you too. The Dallas Stars.
and one of those games, to me, in my opinion, are the Chargers and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
For some reason, when those 2 teams play, you don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
So
exactly.
But hey, so tonight, who do you guys have?
What we got for tonight's game? It's Pats
Seahawks.
Patriots. I got the Seahawks by at least 2 touchdowns.
Seahawks by 2 touchdowns. Well, they're gonna have to work a little bit harder.
I actually had the Seahawks by 3. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
See,
I like that one.
A lot of people are really high on the Patriots after week 1 and how they perform, but again, they performed that way against the Dolphins, and the Seattle Seahawks are a top 2, maybe top 3 team in the NFC. So it's going to be a bigger test, and this is going to be a real test for me. I want to see what happens to Cam Newton in New England when things aren't going so well. Like in a game like again tonight against Seattle, if Seattle starts to come back and Seattle takes a bigger lead, they're up by 10, up by 2. Like, is he that same guy that was on the Carolina sidelines hanging his head, moping, or is he a new Cam Newton? And that, for me, that will then determine how good the New England Patriots are going to be this season. So,
okay. And what about tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is Vegas and
Saints.
I want to pick Vegas outright. I do, because not only are the Saints going to be missing Michael, what the hell's
Thomas.
his last name? Thomas. They're really missing Michael Thomas. I'd like to say it, but I just can't bet against Drew Brees. I can't. So I would take the spread with the Raiders. I think it's going to be a close game, and I really want to take the Raiders straight up because it's the Raiders. They're opening their new stadium. The whole thing. And I always root for the underdog, so I'm going to be rooting for the Raiders. I just can't bet against the Saints. So, all right, Professor. So we'll see you on Thursday night. All right.
You should take the spread. Just saying.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. Just
In fact, I think. Remember, these are just my opinions. I do not.
You don't want any legal liability of me losing money. I get it.
Remember, these are. However, and Combs knows this, and Buck, I'll just let you know. I always pick like my upset of like the week, and believe it or not, Raiders over the Saints are gonna be or my upset of the week.
Straight up
or against the spread?
Both. I got them beating the spread. I got them beating Saints. I think they did what they had to do to improve their team. I think we saw a little bit of that last week. Josh Jacobs is finally falling into that mold of what he needs to be for the team. But yeah, no, I actually have the Raiders winning out. But that's another conversation for.
Are they allowing fans in the Vegas stadium?
I have not heard of that.
If they allow fans into that stadium, Vegas is going to be so overhyped. I think the first quarter they're going to be playing really, really sloppy, and they're going to be playing catch up in the second half. So that's why I got the Saints by 7 or 10. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to go with 7, I think.
All right.
That's an interesting number there. Okay.
28-21, straight up.
28-21, straight up.
All right, Professor. Enjoy your win for the week. I will see you Thursday night.
Hey, a W is a W.
A W is a W. That's all that matters.
All right. So
you should plan the spread, right, Coombs?
Yeah. Look, man, I am. The Chargers, I like more than most people. The Vikings, I tend to like more than most people.
Right.
Soup Boss is high on the Vikings, too. We both had them winning the division. I think we both underrated, and we talked about this today. We think we both underrated the Packers. I didn't think I thought the Packers were going to have a downside. I thought the Love thing was going to fuck with Rodgers more than it is, but Rodgers going out and playing with a chip on his shoulder the first 2 weeks.
Of course. If you would listen to the Man Hour, you would have known when we told you this back in July.
I did listen to the Man Hour. You guys called me up and made me get on the show with the Man Hour when I said
Come on, man. Ted, who'd you say? Jameis Winston,
Jameis Winston was a top 10 quarterback in the league. I said it on this show too. I still believe it. Jameis Winston is a top 10 quarterback in the league.
Who has more completions on the team? Is it Jameis Winston or Taysom Hill?
On the team?
Yeah.
Well, Taysom Hill, because they haven't let Bridgewater into a game yet.
You mean Jameson, and they won't because he sucks.
At any rate. All right. So we got a couple of things coming in here. Is Taylor done? We already got to that one. Dan Quinn, is he done in Atlanta?
I don't know, because you did have a was it 20-0 score versus the Cowboys. I don't think you fire him this early.
And then 29-10 at half.
Yeah, so like I don't think you fire him this early in the season, because they did lose on an onside kick and a last second field goal, and I don't know. I mean, you still have Matt Ryan there. You have Calvin, what's his last name? And then you have Julio Jones. I mean, they had the team to go really, really deep. Yeah, I mean, like they had the team to do well this season, sneak into the playoffs at an 8-8, 9-7 type of schedule, or like a record. I don't think, because if you fire their head coach week 2, that blows your whole season up, and you are basically taken for Trevor like at that point. And you have Matt Ryan still, so why would you do that?
Right. Yeah, I look, for one, and I said this last week, I said it with the guys from Twist. If I'm tanking, it ain't for Trevor.
Right.
I see a lot of Ryan Leaf in Trevor Lawrence. I see a guy who is very good in college, but I'm not so sure his game's going to translate very well to the NFL. There are a couple guys that I would take over him, like a Kellen Mond. I would take, what was the other big name that everybody says would, if anybody goes before him, it'd be him.
Justin Fields.
And then I also like the kid from Florida, Trask. He's a really good quarterback as well. I think I like all three of those guys more than I like Trevor Lawrence. So I'm not a big Trevor Lawrence guy, but I know a lot of people are. A lot of people say tank for Trevor. I would not tank for Trevor. No matter, I tank for Trevor if I'm the Bears, because at this point I'd take my grandmother. But so all right. So we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we will get to some more stuff. We still have to get to our YouTube subscribers. We're trying to get to 100 subscribers. Every Sunday, we're taking away a prize. We're down to 8 prizes left. Trying to give you guys some free stuff, and we still are not at 100. So we have got to take some more prizes away. And I'm also going to be calling out Michel Buchheister on something later on. He does not know what it is yet. This is a surprise for him. He'll find out what it is in just a few moments. We'll be back.
Chiefs Kingdom.
Kitchen cooking up a plate. Jesus on the way, I can't delay, too much to say. Dominoes knocking out shows, so you knocking out dominoes. Wanna know how I know that I'm about to blow? I wanna know how the fuck you do not know the way that I'm dropping shit, man, it's so obvious. This is the opposite of what a hobby is. If you reacting and saying I'm acting, the fact is you act, cause you know that I bodied it, know that I'm bodied it.
All right, so we are back. All right, guys. So we were talking before we went to break, talking about how we're trying to get you guys to 100 subscribers on YouTube. We're trying to do this. We're trying to do that. So I went through the list, trying to see who's subscribed on YouTube, see what, trying to make a list of names. So when these prizes do go out, we can go ahead and do that. You know whose name was not on that list yet, Michel Buchheister?
Is it mine?
Yeah. Oh. Why have you not subscribed to our show yet?
Because I am not on YouTube that much, man, to be honest. The only time I'm on YouTube is to look for Donald Trump music videos, to be honest with you.
You can find one from our boy Mises here, who has been so gracious to allow us the opportunity to use his music on our show, has given us permission to use music on our show from him. So he is strictly the only music that we play on the show. He's got a Trump song out there, so you might like what he's got too. So you might want to check him out.
Oh, I will definitely. So let me sign into my YouTube right now. All right. The Mike and Mike Man Hour. I'm going to say what is up in the comments.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what's up, big dog? As soon as it, apparently my internet's slow right now. Here we go. Cindy must be doing, what's up? And then boom. But wait, let me hit the like button first. Like.
Did you
then subscribe?
There we go.
There we
go.
Right.
So guys, we are at Michel Buchheister. I don't know if I know you watch the show because you comment all the time. We have a whole bunch of prizes. So I've got this Philip Lindsay autographed full size Broncos replica helmet.
Another injury.
I've got Calvin Ridley behind me. I've got a Michael Vick jersey behind me, which my girlfriend would desperately love for me to get out the house since we do own a pit bull and she hates Michael Vick.
Sheesh.
I've got a Juan Soto autographed full size field used baseball bat. I've got, what else do I have in here? I've got a Lou Brock autographed jersey. I've got a Fernando Tatis Jr. autographed jersey. I had a Saquon Barkley autographed jersey in here, rookie jersey, but that already got pulled out of the hat, so that prize is gone. We had a Yankees full-size batting helmet. That prize is gone. So all we got to do, guys, is get to 100. I keep posting the link, so all you have to do is click on the link. It takes 3 seconds to subscribe, and you saw it right here. Michael Buchheister just did it while he was on the show.
Yeah,
you
boom,
know.
boom.
So we have no excuses to not. And here's his comment already. So we do not have any excuses here. So we're about to take away another prize, guys. Here go all the prizes in the hat. So we're about to take another one, guys. What are we losing here?
Breaking my heart.
All right. Oh, man, I know there's a couple of watchers who really wanted this too. Michael Buchheister, I love cabbage. A lot of people wanted this jersey sitting behind me, but the Calvin Ridley is out. It is no longer an available prize.
Wow.
Guys, we just lost a Calvin Ridley, and I know there's a couple people that are going to be hitting me up now and be like, oh, I want that Calvin Ridley. I'm going to say, well, it should have got more people to subscribe. You had a chance.
$400.
Man, oh man. Yeah, and that's the thing, man. We have thousands of dollars in prizes here that I'm just willing to give away to get 100. And we've got 300 followers on our Facebook page. All I need is a third of that to subscribe on the YouTube page, and we just can't seem to get it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what it is, but they're losing prizes. I feel like a dad taking away toys from his kid. I don't know, guys. You guys make me do this. It hurts me more than it hurts you. All that other dad stuff, but yeah, man. It's always tough. Did you have this many problems getting to? How many subscribers do you have on your YouTube page?
We're like right about 1,600.
Yeah. So did you have this many problems getting to 100?
Yeah. So our biggest hurdle was getting to 100. It took us almost 7-8 months to get to that 100, and then the next couple hundred came pretty easy, and then it just gets easier like after that. After that point, but that first 100 is always the hardest. And even though we have 1,600 subscribers, only like 5 or 6 honestly tune in like on the YouTube channel. Like we definitely get more viewers from the Facebook page simply because like I just think Facebook is like easier, like you're scrolling through, boom, they're there, right? So
and then it gives you the
right.
It'll tell you, hey, they're gonna start recording, or hey, they've gone live, and YouTube has a problem doing that. I don't know why, but they don't tell you, hey, this.
I'll tell you a secret off air.
Okay, perfect.
I got you.
All right. So let's get into something else here. We've been talking a lot of football. We'll get back to football for sure. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about. But there's a lot of stuff going on in baseball right now. And one thing that I've noticed just by watching all these teams clinch, the Rays clinched, the A's clinched, the Twins clinched, the White Sox clinched, all clinched playoff spots. The Yankees are close to clinching a playoff spot. And then the Dodgers have clinched a playoff spot. Now, notice all those names that I said. How many National League names did I say?
I don't know. 1 or 2, isn't it?
Just the Dodgers.
Just the Dodgers.
They're the only team in the National League so far. That I think that goes to show, and I've said this before, that I think that the National League has more competition and has more meat on the bone than the American League this year. I think that, you look at teams like it, and not just the Cubs. The Cubs are playing well, but I don't think that they're even in the mix. Even though I picked them to win the World Series this year, I don't think that they are in the mix as where everyone else is. I don't think that they're as good as the Dodgers. They're definitely not as good as the Padres. I think they're probably on the same level as the Braves. They're better than the Marlins. They're better than the Phillies. But the Dodgers and the Padres, to me, are just, man, the Padres are so much fun to watch. And the Dodgers, I didn't see them being where they are now, especially before the season. They lost David Price. Kershaw went down at the beginning of the season for the first 2 weeks. So I didn't see them being as good. They've kind of surprised me. But they always find a way to lose in the playoffs. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I said it last week, and Supas poo-pooed my idea. And then while I was watching the MLB Network the very next day, I actually had Mark DeRosa of the MLB Network say the same exact thing I said, and that is nobody wants to see the Cincinnati Reds in a short series. They are so sneaky good.
Right.
Their pitching staff is good. Their offense can get hot. They just came into Chicago and beat a very hot White Sox team 2 out of 3. Nobody wants to see that team in a 3-game series, especially the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Yeah, I believe when you came out with your preseason predictions for the MLB, I told you to watch out for the Reds just because I've seen them play because I live like in basically an hour from Cincinnati, so I could see a lot of like all those games on TV and stuff, and it's just like they are just like kind of a grungy team, much like my Kansas City Royals were back in 2014, 2013. Like, don't let them in because they can make some noise.
And that's what the Reds are a team that I also said when we were making our predictions. I said the Reds are a team that could probably sneak up on everybody and maybe even win the Central, even though the Cubs are. I mean, I think they got 8 games to play or something like that, 7 games to play, and they're up by 5 games. But
right.
It's the Reds are that team that nobody wants to see. They're gonna get in. They're going to be an 8 seed and they're going to face the Dodgers in the first round. And I think that's a horrible matchup for the Dodgers.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of the LA teams in general. Like, kind of like teams that can like try to buy themselves a championship. And I really feel like that's what LA is trying to do. And it's going to be so sweet when they get knocked out in the first round. It's going to be flat out awesome.
I am a big, and I say it all the time. I've said this for years. There is no team no fan base that deserves a winner less than the Los Angeles fan base.
Right. They
don't show up to games till after the 3rd inning. They leave before the 7th inning. they don't care as much about their team. But when they win, man, they're just obnoxious. They're like Patriots fans. When they're not winning, you don't hear from them and they don't show up. But when they win, they never let you hear the end of it.
See, here's what I think about LA is they have so many sports teams to root for. So you can say I'm an LA fan, and you're like, what? LA Dodgers, Lakers, Clippers. Like, are you a Kings fan? Like, you can rattle off 15 professional teams and like LA, like, I believe the Kings are going to the World Series, or to the NBA championships. You're like, I'll root for them. It's so bureaucracy like over there.
Yeah, it is. It's insane. But I do take great solace when they lose. I would also love to see the Lakers go down at some point.
I'm a LeBron fan, so I'm kind of rooting for Lakers.
I like LeBron. I like LeBron as a person. I think LeBron is probably one of the greatest human beings that we've ever had as a professional athlete. The things
I'm starting to lose respect for him now, though.
Community and those things that he's done, with building the schools and all the things that he's given for free educations and stuff like that. He's done wonders for the community, but I don't like him as a basketball player. I just don't. I don't like the flopping, the constant whining. You're so great, but all you do is whine and cry and bitch. That's all you do. So it drives me nuts.
That's the era that we're in, though. Now, I mean,
yeah, that's why I don't watch the NBA. I really don't. Like, I watch it now because we talk about it on the show, and I want to know a little bit about what I'm talking about. But we had it before the season. I had Wayne G on the show, and the 3 of us, me, Wayne, and Sue Boss, were talking basketball, and I just sat here for 20 minutes because I couldn't tell you anything. Like, we're talking about like the Utah Jazz, and they got Donovan or what's their star there? Is it Donovan? What's his name?
Donovan Mitchell. I believe he's from Louisville, Kentucky, actually. Or he played in Louisville. Yeah.
So Supas is like, oh yeah, he's going to be a sleeper, blah, blah, blah. And we were on when we were running the Great Debate. That's when he brought it up, and that was during the Great Debate. And I didn't know who the hell it was, so I didn't give him any points for it. And then he said that's why he lost the Great Debate. But I don't care for the NBA. I don't care for the product. I think that it's just, hey, who can make the most 3-pointers? We're not going to play any defense. We're just going to. So that's, I did like, the series of the one that just ended, which was the Nuggets and the Clippers. That was a very good series. The Nuggets play defense. The Nuggets do the things that they need to do because they have to do that to beat the superior teams. I mean, they beat the Clippers. The Clippers are clearly the more talented team, but Denver was the better team.
Right.
So I don't really care for the NBA anymore, but I do love seeing Los Angeles teams when they lose.
I'm a passive NBA fan. Like I could care less between November till May, but like once the playoffs like start, like I'll tune in it and like I'll try to
Yeah.
catch about 80% like of the games.
Yeah.
Because they actually do play actual basketball. Then they aren't just
Yeah.
150
I've
to
been for
140
the
type thing.
playoffs, but I'm also a Bulls fan, so it's been hard to watch basketball for the last 10 years or so. But back to
I'm sorry.
baseball. Are we sleeping on the NL East?
The NL East, I don't know, man. I mean, you you got the Braves, the Phillies, and the Mets over there.
So we talk about, we talk about the Dodgers and we talk about the Padres because of how good they're playing. We've talked about the Cubs, talked about the Reds and how sneaky good they are. But we haven't talked about the NL East, and they've got 3 teams that are probably making the playoffs. So you've got the Atlanta Braves are in. The Marlins are probably going to get the 2 seed, but they're only a game ahead of the Phillies, which may have changed today. I'd have to check that out. Nope, they're still a game ahead of the Phillies. So you got the Braves at 31-22. The Marlins, unbelievable, at 28-25. Nobody saw that coming. I don't care who you are. You did not call the Marlins being the second best team in the National
And I
League.
believe Derek Jeter owns that team, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like is he starting to rub off a little bit on them, maybe?
Yeah.
Like to work take a little bit.
I guess, and I think you've got confidence in those young guys, and those young guys are just performing really well right now. You got a lot of talent for all the trades that you made when you traded Giancarlo Stanton.
Yeah, they cleared house, right?
Yeah, all the guys they traded, they did get some talent back. The Philadelphia Phillies are 27-26. So those 3 teams are probably getting in, and nobody's really talking about it. Nobody's talking about the Marlins. Nobody's talking about can the Phillies be a team that upsets the Dodgers or the Padres. Nobody's talking about can the Marlins pull something crazy off in the first round. Everybody's talking about the Central and the West. And so I kind of feel like everybody is sleeping on the National League East.
It is the team that you haven't mentioned yet is the Atlanta Braves. Many people had them picked to do very, very well this season. And I believe you were the one of them that picked them to win this division, if I'm not mistaken.
I did. And then Supas had them in the World Series against the Twins.
Yeah, and like looking at their last 10, they have won 5 or 6 games in a row. Yeah, they lost a couple like the last few nights, but this team, I believe I watched them play. Who was it? I think it was a LA team. It was like they scored 29 runs in like a game, and it just like that blows my mind when you have that type of offense coming from I'm going to say it. They are a underrated team. They are a underrated 31-22 team going like first place in their division. I mean, and I think right now they're projected to get 3rd seed, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I mean they're definitely being slept on. But
I think their problem is pitching. I don't think they have enough pitching. I think that when it comes to the 3 teams that are coming out of the East, I think out of the 3 teams they have the least amount of pitching, even though they're going to win that division.
Yeah, I mean, like looking at their pitching staff, the only one that I know from their staff is Cole Hamels, and I believe I know him from the Phillies. Maybe is that where he used to pitch back in the day? So
and then he pitched for the Cubs the last 2 years.
Yeah, so I mean, like I don't know any of their pitching staff besides Cole Hamels, and if he's been on a couple teams the last few years, maybe he's over that hill a little bit. So yeah, I mean, like I could definitely see that their pitching staff is definitely probably the weakest link. But when you have that type of offense, who really cares, right?
Well, pitching wins in the playoffs.
True.
Pitching plays in the postseason, and that's where I think that they're going to get into a little bit of trouble here. Heading into the postseason, because when you go up, especially in a short series, you're going to be the 3 seed, so you're going to have to take on the 6 seed, which at this point is either going to be the Marlins or the Phillies, and they're in your division. They've played you a bunch, and they've played you well, and they know that you don't have the pitching that they have, and they've got confidence going in against you. I think that out of the 3 teams coming out of the East, I like them the least.
Really. And like I think if the Braves can get past that first round, they probably have a pretty easy path to the World Series.
You think so? So if they get past that first round, then they've got to either go through San Diego, they've either got to go through the Cubs, or they've got to go through the Dodgers. depending on how the seeding goes and how it all lines up.
Right. So the Dodgers are going to lose in the first round, like we've already established that, right? So,
Yeah.
I would say out of those teams that you listed, the Reds scare me the most. But I think the Reds and the Braves match up perfectly because it's kind of like a hitter's duel,
Yeah.
like a tad bit. I think the Braves come out on top on that.
Yeah, I like the Braves offense more than I like the Reds offense for sure, but I like the Reds pitching more than I like the Braves pitching. So that'd be an exciting one to watch.
Yeah.
Scoop Boss had picked a World Series that I thought was really interesting. So he picked the Braves and the Twins, and I thought that'd be an exciting World Series to watch. Two young teams, scrappy, like to play, where they're stealing bases, they're doing all the things that I love about baseball. But I thought of one last week that I threw at him, and he laughed at me because I said the White Sox, and he likes to give me shit about being a Cubs fan, but being a closet White Sox fan, as he says, which is not true.
That is true.
It is not true. But I had the Padres and the White Sox in the World Series as like a fun little matchup. I think that one would be a crazy good matchup as well. Tampa Bay would be an exciting team to watch. Oakland's always fun to watch too. They play that exciting brand of baseball.
So I can tell you, I cannot root for the White Sox whatsoever because they're from the AL Central, and obviously, I'm a Royals fan here. Like I got my Royals gear right here with me all the time.
Yep.
And if they make it to the World Series, I hope they get swept. Like flat out. Like I hope they get swept.
Part-time nerd chimes in. What up? What's going on? How's it going, buddy?
Who's that? That's Rapid Dave. No, that's not Rapid Dave.
That's Alan.
Alan, yeah.
Yeah.
What's up, Alan?
But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of exciting teams to watch. Who do you think has a more exciting playoff picture, the National League or the American League?
Oof. You know what? I would have to say the American League just because I know the American League a little bit more than I do the National League for being like a Royals fan, like obviously, and I get a chance to watch a lot of American League games. I think the ultimate World Series winner comes from the American League.
Yeah. Well, see, I disagree. I think on both fronts, I think that the winner of the World Series is coming out of the National League, and I think they also have the more exciting. I think you're going to have more upsets in the National League than you are in the American League. The American League seems to. I mean, the Tampa Bay Rays have absolutely dominated the New York Yankees this year. Right. Absolutely dominated them, and I think the Oakland A's would beat the Yankees. Still don't have the pitching to compete in the playoffs, and I think the White Sox pose a threat. I think that the Twins pose a threat. But in the National League, man, it's almost like a hockey playoffs where I think all 8 seeds could get to the World Series and win it. I think the Cincinnati Reds can be your Dallas Stars of 2020 for baseball.
Yeah, but like you keep saying shortened series, like they're doing 5-game series instead of 7-game series, right?
No, they're doing the first round, the wild card round is a best of 3.
Okay, and then it's a 7-game series, like after that. So in the National League, all of those series are going to go 3 games or 7 games. They're going to go the full length. Yep. Yes, that makes for exciting playoff baseball, but that doesn't win you a lot of World Series. Like when you have to play 20 to 25 games to get to the World Series, and then the team, let's say they play the Tampa Bay Rays and they're playing 12 games. They sweep through the Astros and the Yankees, and let's say they play the Twins, in the championship series.
Again, I disagree with you there again, because like look at teams like your Kansas City Royals when they won the World Series. They were good. They had to battle to beat everybody in each round heading into that World Series, and then they had to battle to win the World Series.
Whoa. Hang on. The Royals swept the first 3 series.
The year they won the World Series?
Yes, they beat the Oakland A's in that wild card game. Yes, that wild card game was like a 15-inning game. Okay. And then they swept the first round. Then they swept the second round, which was the Giants, I do believe. And then they beat the Mets in 6 games.
Yeah, well, it couldn't have been the Giants because Giants.
I'm sorry. I forget who.
I think
who
they
it was.
Or something. But I could have sworn that they battled. But all right, so I'm mistaken then. But I like a team that is playing 7 games versus a team going up against a team that swept and sat for a week while we went through a 7-game battle, because I feel like our bats are hotter. I feel like our team doesn't have time to cool down if you're playing good ball. So I always
pitchers don't have time to rest though either. And you stated that the playoffs it's a pitching duel, and if your pitchers are consistently going nine innings, 7 games, that takes a wear on you.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's going to be fun to watch. Like I'm a baseball guy, so it's always fun to watch. But
honestly, baseball is probably the best postseason to watch.
Yeah, I like it the most. I think NHL is probably the most fun postseason. Just because
if I knew a little bit more about hockey, I could probably buy into that.
I mean, look at teams like right now, the Dallas Stars, and I've mentioned them a few times tonight. They're in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and nobody had them beating Colorado. Nobody had them beating Las Vegas. And now nobody gave them a chance against the Lightning. They beat Colorado in 7. They beat Vegas in 7, came back from 3-1 down in both series. And then, I'm sorry, then they come from 3-1 down against Vegas, but they beat Vegas. And then everybody's like, oh, now they got no chance against the Lightning. And they go out and they dominate the Lightning in game 1. So that, for me, teams like that, and that happens every year in hockey. There's so much parity in hockey that it's just, for me, it's the most exciting. It's just end to end, and the overtimes are crazy. I love hockey, and I think hockey is probably the most exciting postseason. But I do enjoy watching baseball the most.
Yeah, I do concur with you on the hockey, because I've seen more teams be up 3-1 and they come back and lose the series. At least a handful of the times I have seen it happen. But this year, I think you kind of got to put an asterisk by that Dallas Stars run, because there is no travel involved. I mean, if you guys want to think about this, traveling is just as hard on your body as playing the game.
Yeah.
Like especially if you're flying from California or in their case to Vegas back to Dallas every 3 nights. I mean, that's a wear and tear on the body.
Soup Boss chimes in here and says, Chargers are going to the Super Bowl, says Brandon Combs. That is false. I did not say that. What I did say is that the Chargers are better than people thought that they were going to be. They're still an 8-8 team. I still have them at 8-8. Soup Boss has them at 4-12. They're not a 4-12 team. They've just shown you they're not a 4-12 team.
Because you play well one game does not make you an ultimate 8-8 team.
I agree, and that's what Soup Boss threw at me too. Well, at the same time that he threw at me that must mean that the Cleveland Browns are better than the Chiefs, which I didn't understand what the hell he's talking about, because there's no way that the Cleveland Browns are better than the Chiefs just because the Chargers barely beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and then the Chiefs had a hard time beating the Chargers, doesn't mean that the Browns are good because they beat the you can't do that. You can't say just because one team had a tough time against another team and then beat this team, and now that team's having a tough time against that team.
Even then, his logic doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't make sense at all.
Didn't the Chargers beat the Bengals, right?
Yes.
The Browns beat the Bengals. The Chiefs beat the Chargers. So how does that mean the Browns are better than the Chiefs? The logic there doesn't make any sense. Because
the Chargers or the Browns beat the Bengals by more points than the Chargers did.
The score was 36-30 to the Bengals Brown game, if I'm not mistaken. What was the score to the Chargers Bengals game?
I believe it was
16-13 or something like that.
Yeah, it was a field goal game.
So by 3 points. So you're saying a 3-point spread.
They barely beat Cincy, but the Browns hung almost 40 on them.
Well, the Bengals almost hung
to make 30 for a full season prediction. That's my point. It's flawed logic. Look, I'm saying at this point in the season, now answer me this, Buck. At this point in the season, through week 2, are the Chargers better than you thought that they would be to this point?
No, because I thought the Chargers if you ever watch the Chargers play, they're a very competitive team. They just cannot put a complete game together. Today, I would say they put a complete game together, but just the Chiefs are that much better than them. We saw the Chiefs play a D game today. Their offense was off, their defense was just struggling all game, and the Chargers happened to play perfect ball. So, with that being said, the Chargers, they are a 4-12 team, yes, but they are the best 4-12 team that you will ever see.
Right.
They are one piece away, maybe 1 year away of going 13-3 3 again. If the ball bounces their way right 5 games, they could easily be 10-6. Easily.
Right. No, I agree, and that's where I'm at. Suplas has him at 4. He's not high on them at all. They
are a quarterback away.
I said they were 8-8. I said that what needs to happen is they're going to be like 3-7 or something like that, and they're going to bring in Herbert, and Herbert's going to show that he's better than people thought. And it happened in week 2, and so that's why I would keep Herbert playing, because I think you have a better chance to win with him under center than you do with Tyrod Taylor.
I think the team has more faith in Herbert than they do Tyrod, to be honest.
Well, Tyrod Taylor is a serviceable quarterback, but he's a backup.
Yeah.
He's not a starting quarterback in the league. The fact that he's got a starting job and Jameis Winston doesn't baffles my mind. I get all the interceptions, and we talk about this before. I get all the interceptions that Winston has thrown, but he still threw for 5,000 yards and 33 touchdowns, and no other quarterback last year did that.
All right.
So there are quarterbacks that he should.
You also throw it 80% of the time, and you get those type of stats.
Yeah, I mean that's true too. But you get guys like who was it last week who threw 40 times?
Joe Burrow threw 61 times on Thursday night.
Yeah.
So.
It's crazy when you don't have a run game like that and you have to throw that much. But they have a decent run game with Mixon over there in Cincinnati. But Jameis Winston on the Chargers would be a guaranteed Super Bowl advantage. I would have picked him. I would have
picked him at 9-6. I bet.
At 9-6.
Sorry, 9-7.
9-7. All right.
Actually, we need to get used to that 17-game schedule. It'd be 9-8.
Because they were always down because he threw so many picks. That was 1 year. You know who else had 1 year of a whole lot of interceptions and then threw a whole lot for his entire career? Brett Favre.
How many Super Bowls did Brett Favre win, though?
1.
Exactly.
Is he a Hall of Fame quarterback?
Only because he played for so long.
You think so?
Yeah, I bet you if you would trim his season down to, trim the last 5 or 6 years off of his career, he played 14 years? What was it?
And
some of that.
He played very well when he went to Minnesota after everybody said he was done.
He did. But he also had a very, very great receiver core around him as well as a great offensive coordinator.
Oh, yeah. No, absolutely. And so did Jameis Winston last year.
Right.
So the guy's got some stuff to clean up. I think him learning under Drew Brees is a good thing.
To be honest, the best thing that Jameis Winston could have done was somehow talk Tampa Bay of keeping him, bringing him as a second string and learning behind Tom. Would he accept that role? I don't know. But if you get a chance to learn somebody behind Tom Brady, that's been doing it for what?
I think, but I think Breeze suits his game better because Breeze is more mobile, just like Jameis is, and Tom is just a straight pocket passer.
Yeah.
And I think Breeze knows how to win, just like Tom does. I think sitting under Breeze was a smart move for him.
Do you think Jameson is the starting quarterback for the Saints when Breeze retires at the end of the year?
I do, yeah. I don't think that I think that if they believed in, and I know where you're going with that. I believe if they believed in Taysom Hill, I don't think they would have went out and got Jameis Winston.
Yeah, but they signed him to a pretty good deal, didn't they? It was like 3 or 4 years for $16 million
to be their their receiver,
special teams,
and to be their their whatever gimmick guy. I mean, he's going to be there and he's going to do the same thing under Jameis Winston. I guarantee you, they brought Jameis Winston in there because they saw what he did with the yards and the touchdown passes, and they said, hey, look, we've got the same weapons. We've got a lot of young guys here. We do have Drew Brees leading us, so you're not going to start, but you can sit under here and learn under a guy who runs the same style of offense that you could.
Right.
So I think it was a good move for him. I think it's a good move for the Saints. I think it's definitely Jameis Winston's job once Brees leaves probably at the end of this year.
We will see what they do in the draft this year.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the other thing too. We don't know how he's been performing in practice. We don't know, how do they like him? Do they not like him? What's the word behind the scenes? It's just something you haven't heard yet. You'll probably hear that more as the season goes on and towards the end of the season, what they're thinking for the next year. But
what we will really we will know this let's say Drew Brees gets hurt again, mid season and misses three games again. Who do they start at quarterback then? That is when that is when you'll know the future of Jameis Winston in New Orleans. Do they start Taysom Hill or do they start him?
You're saying if he gets hurt?
Yeah, if Drew Brees gets hurt again, like his thumb injury, he's out for 2-3 weeks again, right? Who do they start then?
Go straight to Jameis.
Well, I mean, we will see then, like how they are buying, like how they're sold on him,
or even if they've clinched already by week 15.
True.
And they go to sit him. Who gets the starting gig then? I think it'll be Jameis. It's purely speculation because I'm not in tune with the Saints like I am with the Bears. So I don't know. It's completely speculation, but they only signed him to a 1-year deal.
Correct. So that is why I said, like, let's see what they do in the draft. Like, if they are sold on him, they won't draft a quarterback because he's fifth year in his league, right?
Yeah,
4th, 5th year. So I mean, he definitely has a long shelf life left. 10 years maybe left on him.
Don't re-sign him. That's fine. I would love to see Jameis Winston in Chicago. I would love to see him in a Bears uniform. I'll take Jameis Winston. I'll take Jameis.
Nick Foles
right now. Yeah. Big Dick Nick. But they gave him when they restructured that deal, I think they gave him 2 or 3 years too.
Yeah.
I don't like Nick Foles doing a full season though. That's a tough one.
Wait. Hang on. So you're sold on Nick Foles for like 3 games, but you don't want him for a whole year?
I'm sold on Nick Foles for about 12 games and then heading into the playoffs like he did in Philly, which is what I planned on him for this year. But I'm not sold. He's never done it. He's never done it in his career. He's never been a full season quarterback. I knew for a fact, I was not surprised at all that Mr. Trubisky started the season as a quarterback because there was no way they were going to give him every opportunity to fail before they brought him out. And that's
which I think you have to do that.
Yeah. They said, look, we're not picking up your 5th year option and we're signing Nick Foles. You either suck and we're pulling you out, or you go light the world on fire and show everybody that we were the smartest people in the world when we took you over the 2 other quarterbacks that we should have taken. And, I just, and you're reaping the benefits of that too.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean,
absolutely. And so are the Texans. I mean, look,
yeah.
Me and Wayne have been friends for a long time, and he's actually my jersey guy. I collect jerseys, ones that I can wear all the time. I almost have a full collection of all the baseball teams in the league. So I collect jerseys, and I was on the phone with him the night of the draft, and I'll never forget it. And I said, hey, look, as soon as they make this pick, I want you to place the order, and I want my Deshaun Watson Bears jersey. And I'm standing up, and I remember I had the remote in my hand, and I'm standing up, and I'm pacing back and forth. I'm like, it's got to be Deshaun Watson. They traded up. We're getting Deshaun Watson. I'm pumped. And then they announced the pick. The Bears select Mitch Trubisky from North Carolina. I said, who?
Exactly.
I rewound it, DVR, rewind. Hold on, wait, what happened? Mitch Trubisky. I turned off the TV and I went straight to bed. I didn't say a word. I went straight to bed. And I went to sleep. I was hoping I would wake up and it'd be a dream, but it wasn't. and we lost out on Deshaun Watson, and we lost out on Patrick Mahomes, and not to mention, which a lot of people didn't know, but you gotta give the Baltimore Ravens credit. In that same draft, I mean, we also lost out on the GOAT. So. I knew that I'd get a reaction out of you.
To be honest, I am kind of surprised Lamar Jackson did fall as far as he did, like in that draft, because he was a Heisman winner the previous year, and then a Heisman runner-up, if I'm not mistaken, like the next year, or I got him flip-flopped around. So I have never seen a Heisman winner with that much upside, drop that far in the draft. But like honestly, like if he would have went to any other team, he probably wouldn't be having the success that he's having.
Yeah, right now, you call him whatever you want to, but it's Mr. Big Trust. That's what you need to start calling him. You need to be a trust. You need to be a believer, and you need to give him his respect. The guy,
he has my respect from September till January. Once January 1st hits, he is the worst quarterback in the NFL.
All right. Foles is garbage, says Alan. You're killing me, man.
Foles is garbage on every team but Philadelphia Green.
But
if you look at him for any other team, he is
style
complete garbage.
offense that Philadelphia ran. And that's why I feel like he is. But all the Bears need is a guy who can complete passes. They need a guy who can hit a guy on the numbers and not turn the ball over and make stupid decision after stupid decision. And Nick Foles is the perfect guy. He's a guy who can
for 12 games, right?
Well, yeah, for 12 games plus the playoffs, he's a perfect backup quarterback to take over for a failing starting quarterback. He was that when he was in Philly. Then they tried making him a starter, just like and that happens to a lot of backup quarterbacks. They have a great year, and then they want to try to make him a starter. What was the kid out of New England? Not
Matt
Jimmy
Castle.
Garoppolo, but Matt Castle.
Don't speak to him ever again.
You guys went out and gave him a huge contract,
like $60 million or something like that.
Yeah. It's all because he was what was he that year that Brady got hurt? Wasn't he like
I think
or something?
I think they went 11-5, and I think they made a playoff run, or they made it to the playoff. I think, but
and so then the Chiefs went out and they gave him, but it happens all the time. A lot with Patriots quarterbacks. Jimmy Garoppolo is another example of that. He is not the quarterback everybody thought he was.
It would not be surprised if Jimmy G fails this year. Cam Newton gets a big deal from, let's say, 49ers, and those two flip-flop, and Jimmy G has a better career than Cam.
And God forbid Jimmy G takes a knee, because then everybody would be talking about, I just figured 49er quarterback who isn't performing well. And all right.
There's a reason why he is not in the league.
I agree.
Not because of the racial thing or anything like that.
I got in this argument. People are, and I get, the whole taking a knee thing, and I'm fine with it. I was fine with him taking a knee when he took a knee. I was okay with it because of why he took the knee and who told him to take a knee. He did it out of respect for a veteran, a decorated veteran who said, "Hey, instead of sitting for the national anthem, take a knee." And so he did that. But after the Super Bowl appearance, he was 8-8, 2-6, and 1-10. He was on a steady decline.
Yeah.
So that is why teams did not give him a chance. Should he have been given a shot over some of the quarterbacks that were there because he did have that Super Bowl appearance? Maybe. But teams didn't want to go that way.
Super Bowl ring does not get you a job. Come on now.
The reason why you don't get that opportunity is not only are you a distraction to the team with the whole issue that was going on with the taking a knee and how it divided everybody, and some people were for it, some people were against it. Not only does that bring a distraction, but you're also not performing well. If you were out there with the track, if Patrick Mahomes went out there and took a knee, if you were performing at Patrick Mahomes' level and you took a knee, you would have been the quarterback the next week.
Yes.
And 15 teams would have lined up to sign you, but you weren't. That's why you're not in the league, and that's why I still don't understand why you're an 81 in Madden this year. I don't get it. 10-6 or 11-5 and missed the playoffs.
Who was that?
Matt Castle.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, because that was the year that the Dolphins, or was it the Dolphins that went crazy or something like that? When I can't remember. It was too long ago.
Might have been the Jets. That might have been the time the Jets were actually okay. Them poor fans in New York, man. God, do they got a whole lot of garbage to watch. A whole lot beyond, and even the New York Yankees are disappointing as shit this year. But beyond the New York Yankees, the Mets are garbage. The Jets are garbage. The Giants are garbage. New York Rangers are garbage. The New York Knicks are a freaking trash can dumpster fire.
Much like the Bears.
You've got nothing to look forward to in New York as a sports fan at all.
They got
the Mets just sold, so you got to look forward to that. The Mets just sold, so maybe their new owner will do some good for them.
Who was the new owner?
The new owner, I can't remember his name.
Because if I remember right, Travis Kelce was trying to put an owner group together to buy them.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the guy who just bought them. But I did see an interesting article where the Mets are Theo Epstein's in his last years of his contract with the Cubs, and I saw an interesting article that said the Mets might be going after Theo Epstein. Can you imagine if Theo Epstein goes and erases the curse with the Red Sox, erases the curse with the Cubs, and makes a World Series team out of the New York Mets? I'd put him in the Hall of Fame right then.
Yeah.
You ain't got to wait your 5 years after you retire. You're in the Hall of Fame now.
Yeah. How hated would he be in Boston though if he went to a New York team and turned them around?
If it was the Yankees, then yes, he'd be hated. If it's the Mets, they don't care as much. They don't care as much about the Mets as they do about the Yankees. I mean, they forgot all about '86 after 2004 happened, so they didn't have to worry about it anymore. But all right, guys. So we're gonna take another quick break. When we come back, we will talk a little bit of NBA, and then we will finish up with the rest of our NFL talk. We do got some NBA things going on. It looks like the Nuggets are trying to make a series out of this. We'll see if they can do it. So stick with us. We will be right back.
Just to make me a pussy, tell the trolls keep trolling. Bet your ass won't push me. All your ass do is push keys. You exciting my demons, even demons scared of me. Only fight when I'm sleeping. God, why am I breathing? Got no rhyme and no reason. That's the reason I rhyme. Niggas finding my season. I'm tired of y'all eating. I'm just tired of me starving. Actually, I'm being honest. I'm just tired of being complex. I'm gonna rip a new hole in your whole operation. I run out of patience and run out of pages to write that I run out of pages. I talk on the mic and go nuts on the stages. So fucking amazing and nothing amazes you motherfuckers anymore. Cause my cadence is devastating. Say no, never say my name. The hell out my way. Got the devil in my head. The devil's in my brain. Like whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no. Not gonna slow the flow down so you supposed to know what I'm saying until you replay the shit over and over. I'm only a minute in, already said more than you say in one of your albums. Wow, standing in the ring and ready to get it in. Let me know who want a problem. Holla, I ain't never ran a fuck what you thought. Mom, more battles than you ever fought. Nowadays, 269 and then tell when they get caught. I'm sticking to the code. Jump before the sun, sleeping with the flow. Only getting hotter, about to hit the road. Trying to make these dollars, getting both motherfucking everybody.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
That's my boy Mises, man. So look, this guy's a Chicago YouTube rapper, and you would like him. So we don't talk a whole lot of politics on this show. We don't get into the politics, but he is very much outspoken in his music, and there's a lot of things that he says. I'm just like, yeah, well, he's not wrong there. He's got a couple of songs out there. One called Humanity, another one called White Sin. And then he just came out with a Trump one. I'm not one look, I'm not a fan of. I'll say it right now. I'm not a fan of Trump. I'm not a fan of Biden either. I think we got the choice right now. In this election coming up, we got to choose between a shit sandwich and a shit popsicle. We're going to choose a loudmouth billionaire who seems to be, very racially insensitive, or are we going to choose the pedophile? Which this is what we've done to ourselves, America.
Right.
But anyway, off topic, and get off the politics. But no, Mises has a ton of stuff that is out there that is very good. I think you would like him. But so
yeah, and just be sure to go out there and vote, guys. I mean, you can't voice your opinion unless you vote. So
yeah, absolutely. So we got the NBA playoffs going on. The Western Conference Finals are going on right now. Lakers have a 1-0 lead. It's 82-80 right now in the fourth quarter with about 10 minutes to go there. So the Nuggets trying to make it a game and trying to make it a series. If the Nuggets even do win this game, does it matter?
Yes, because we saw the Nuggets are a very grungy team. So this is where you kind of got to put the asterisks up and do the NBA playoffs. Is the travel is the home court advantage, the travel etc. Is an advantage for Denver right now because they don't have to deal with you can speak all you want about the LA fans, but when it comes playoff time, when it comes to championship time, they show up and they're loud and they have all those billionaire actors up on the front
They do love their Lakers.
Yeah, throwing popcorn and talking crapper. So if the Nuggets win game 2 and they win game 3, I think that puts the Lakers kind of backs against the wall, like, whoa, wait a second. We got to take these guys a little bit more serious. And we'll definitely see a 7-game series if they win game 2 and game 3. But if they lose tonight, I think the series is probably over and the Lakers sweep them, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, the Lakers have gone out and lost game 1 of each of their first 2 series and then just gone out and dominated the next 4. I don't know if anybody can beat LA, I think that either Miami or Boston will be a formidable foe for them. Boston looked good rebounding after they dropped the first 2 games of the Eastern Conference Finals. Game 3 ought to be, just as exciting. I keep saying all the time, man, I wish the Bulls could have a guy like Jimmy Butler.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. But we traded him away for a bag of basketballs, and so here we are.
So if you really look at the NBA playoffs like this year with these 4 teams that are left, like you had the Nuggets, Lakers, Celtics, and Heat. The 3 of the 4 teams, they're kind of the up and coming team, right? And the Lakers, they haven't been there for like a while, but they have that veteran core. They have LeBron James, they have Rondo, they have AD. I can't think of some other names because I'm not a huge basketball fan, but I can mean, but they had that big core put into place there. And if the Lakers were to lose, let's say to the Denver Nuggets or the Miami Heat in the finals, it will be a passing of the torch. Hey, this is a team now for the next 3 or 4 years. Look out for these guys moving forward. Now, if the Lakers win, that'll be the next year. So, but I don't think the Lakers are going to lose. Easy pathway to the finals. 100%.
Yeah,
it'll probably be a gentleman sweep.
I think the Lakers don't lose at all. I think the Lakers are going to walk away with this championship just like the NBA wanted them to.
Greatest player alive.
I laughed a lot because we said before the bubble started that the reason why they created the restart the way that they did was they were trying to get LeBron and Zion in the first round, and then New Orleans just went out and totally screwed that up.
The pooch, didn't they?
They did. Part-time Nerd says Islander almost made it to the Cup, referring to New York having nothing to look forward to. I always forget the Islanders are technically a New York team. Aren't they out of Rhode Island, though? I feel like they play in Rhode Island. I can't remember. I think that's why they're called the Islanders, but they're, nobody knows where Rhode Island's at, so they call them the New York Islanders.
It's a very beautiful strait.
And Steve Cohen is the name of the guy who bought the New York Mets. So thank you for that, Alan. Thank you for the
hey, Alan, do you know if Travis Kelce was like a part owner of that as well? Because I heard something about that, but I didn't know if it was.
What is up with Kansas City Chiefs players having enough money to go and put in for sports teams? Didn't freaking your quarterback do the same thing?
Yeah, he is half owner of the Royals right now. But if you think about this, this is your retirement. hey, I'm going to put in $8, $10, $15 million into a team that I make in 1 year. Shoot, I make that in a year. Let me put this into a retirement fund, and they own part of a baseball team for the next 40, 50 years of their life. Kick back in a chair. They're probably not doing a whole lot. It's just a name on the name on it,
Right. Like you put in like a guy like Magic Johnson for when he owned part of the Dodgers. He'd show up to a couple games and make face and
kiss babies.
But I guarantee he wasn't in any of the talks for what players
they needed in the stands, right?
Yeah, exactly. So all right, so let's get back to some more football now. We talked baseball, we talked hockey, we talked basketball. Right now we got Seattle Seahawks and the New England Patriots are tied at 14. Much tighter game than I thought it would be. I think there is. Let me check here. I switched it back to the Cubs game real quick.
Half left.
Yeah, so a minute and a half left in the first half. New England just sacked, as I turn it on, New England just sacked Russell Wilson. So it's second down now. But the NFL has been crazy. The first 2 weeks have been absolutely insane. There must have been 6 upsets in week 1.
Yeah. If you want to call them upsets, can you really call a NFL game an upset? Unless you're favored by 15 points, right? I don't know, but yeah, there are definitely 6 or 7 games that I kind of really they won. The one being the Las Vegas Raiders over the Panthers. I think they played right.
Yeah,
that really surprised me 100%.
Yeah, see, the Panthers were another team I thought were going to be a little bit better than people were giving them credit for. They haven't shown that in the first 2 weeks yet. I think Teddy Bridgewater is a guy that can lead a team and be good and successful in the NFL. He just needs the opportunity to do so and the right scheme and the right coach, which I think he had it in Minnesota. I think he had it in New Orleans. Unfortunately, he had the injury in Minnesota, but Teddy Bridgewater is a very good quarterback. I think a lot of people are sleeping on them because of that. The Bills are no surprise. The Dolphins are no surprise at 0-2.
Let me pause you real quick and go back to the Panthers. I mean, I agree with everything that you said about Teddy, right? They have a good running back. They have a pretty good receiver core. They have a defense. Their weakest link is a rookie head coach. I mean, I said this on the Man Hour about a month ago when school came back in session, and like Matt Rule canceled practice for 2 days to take his kids to like school for the first days of school. And I said out right then and there, I'm like, Mike, the Panthers are going to go 3-13 because their coach is not all in. Their coach thinks he can come and go as he please. He is not putting in the work. He is not getting this team, and it's a COVID year, so you had to put in extra work to get your team ready for week 1.
I still don't understand letting go Ron Rivera. I still don't understand it for the life of me. I don't get it. Ron Rivera is a good coach. He's doing good things out there in Washington. They're 1-1. They got handled today by Arizona, but they were another
great team.
They were another team that won last week. You're just like, whoa, what? Because you thought that the Eagles were at least I thought the Eagles were a team that was going to be at this point 2-0. I didn't think the Rams were going to be as good as they are. They're 2-0 now. Or no, they're 2-0. The Eagles now are 0-2. And so man, there's just a lot of things happening that in the NFL that I didn't see happening. And I'm wondering if no fans in the stands has an impact on that.
Yeah, it definitely has to have an impact on that. Like, let's flashback to September 10th, very first game of the NFL season, Kansas City Chiefs versus Houston Texans. I believe the Chiefs had roughly 3,000 fans in there, if I'm not mistaken. And are you telling me that the Houston Texans would have hung around as long as they did with the Kansas City Chiefs if that place was rocking at 130 decibels? Hell no.
And that's what it does. It changes the hard counts. You're not gonna be prone to jumping as much. It changes adrenaline, changes all sorts of things. And I don't care what they say, piping in the sounds at 75 decibels or whatever they're allowed to. I mean, especially in a place like Kansas City or Seattle, 75 decibels is like having 5 fans.
Yeah, I mean, like that is how loud they are walking into the stadium, right? Come on.
And now you're not only that, but now you're hearing what the coaches from each sideline are yelling at you. Right. You know what I mean? So maybe you pick up on a play, maybe. So I think it changes a lot. I think it's had a lot to do with why we are seeing so many of the things that we are seeing through the first 2 weeks of the NFL. Now, does that even itself out? Maybe. There's been talks of possibly getting vaccinations starting November 1st, and maybe at that point they'll start letting fans into the stands and all of that stuff. So maybe this stuff evens itself out. But through 2 weeks, man, I am surprised by a lot of activity that is going on. I didn't think that the Patriots are going to be as good as clearly they are. Maybe Bill Belichick really is the greatest coach of all time.
Right.
Which, there's a guy who's got his name on the Lombardi Trophy who was pretty damn good. His name was Vince Lombardi. So, but look, if you go out there and you do this with Cam Newton and, your 2 biggest players on defense opting out for the season, and you still go out there and you do this thing and you come out and you beat the Seahawks, I'll be a believer.
Yeah, I mean, one of the biggest surprises to me is the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, they are 0-2 to start the season, but I honestly thought Joe Burrow was going to struggle all year. Throw 3 or 4 interceptions every game. Just look like plain trash, right? And Mike told me 3 or 4 years down the road, Joe Burrow is going to be better than Patrick Mahomes, better than Lamar Jackson, better than Deshaun as well. And like I was like, no way, no way. After watching Joe Burrow on Thursday night, that there's something brewing in Cincinnati, guys. They have a young core. They got a young receiver. They have their running back. They have their offensive line. The defense is getting better, and they got a stable coach now. That is not just okay. We're going to go 8-8, and I'm okay with that. Look out for Cincinnati, second part of the year and years beyond.
And then, to me, like, I'm not a big believer in Kyler Murray. I know a lot of people are. I'm not high on Kyler Murray. I don't understand how you let a 4'3" quarterback do this to you. Like, the things that he is doing, I just don't understand it. Like, I'm watching him. He scores a touchdown. He runs it into the end zone. All of his teammates come to celebrate with him. You know how you normally do a chest bump? His head is hitting their chest as they're both all standing up.
Right.
I don't understand how this guy is this good.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, he's proven me wrong. Doug Flutie was a small quarterback. He was successful. He wasn't a Super Bowl quarterback, but he was an all right quarterback, and he was a smaller quarterback. Kyler Murray, do you think Kyler Murray can sustain what he's done through the first 2 weeks and maybe even bring this Cardinals to, compete for the NFC West with the Seattle Seahawks?
Yeah, so I don't think they will dethrone the Seahawks at that top division, but they will compete for a second place and a wild card berth 100%. I think they're better than the Rams. They're better than the 49ers in that division. I do think Kyler Murray is as advertised moving forward. I put out a sleeper pick earlier in the year, and I had him as a sleeper MVP pick because of the talent that he has around him. He has Hopkins. He has Larry Fitzgerald. I always forget that slot receiver that they have. And, they have a pretty good defense, much underrated defense. Right. The one thing that's special about Kyler Murray is he knows his ability. He knows he is 5'9". He knows he cannot see over a 6'5" lineman, and the coach knows that. So they roll the pocket a lot.
Taller than he actually is, though, right? 5'9". 5'9" is easily a 1.5 feet taller than what he really is, right?
No, I mean, I believe on the roster they have him at 6 foot, but he is definitely like 5'9", maybe 5'10" tops. But the coach knows, hey, this guy can't throw over the line, so we're going to roll the pocket. And Kyler Murray knows that he is a quarterback, not a running back. He is a quarterback, so he's a pass first quarterback, and then he has the ability to escape and do great things down the field. And that is what we're looking for in quarterbacks nowadays. The pass first, scramble ability second, and he has the complete package.
Well, let's look at the NFC West then. So after 2 weeks, if let's say the Seattle Seahawks do what they're supposed to do tonight and they beat the New England Patriots, you have the Arizona Cardinals are 2-0. The Los Angeles Rams are 2-0. Seattle Seahawks would be 2-0. And then you have the defending NFC champion 49ers at 1-1. This has to be the best division in football.
Yeah, I've said this was the best division in football, the hardest division by far. I did not have the Rams pegged to be as good as they are after the first 2 weeks. I believe I had them at 5-12, maybe 6-11, or sorry, 6-10, 5-11 type of record there. Say it again. I'm sorry.
They look like the Super Bowl team from a couple years ago.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that offense is definitely clicking again. Like they subtract to add more type thing by releasing Todd Gurley. I did peg the 49ers to be missing the playoffs this year, but a very competitive. I mean, it would not surprise me if every team in this division goes 9-7 and they have 3 playoff teams from this division.
Yeah. See, I thought the NFC South was going to be the best division in football. I didn't think that the Falcons were capable of blowing another lead like, they did in the Super Bowl a couple years ago. I didn't see them at 0-2 heading in. I didn't see Dallas, beating them. I have Dallas. I'm down on Dallas, man. I do not like Dallas at all. Could you? I thought when the Philly was losing big and the Cowboys were losing big, I said, man, if Atlanta holds on to this, Washington is the only team in that division with a win.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you are saying forget what team. Oh, you're saying the Chargers. People are down on the Chargers, but you think they're better than what people think they are. The Redskins, or sorry, the football team, they are better than what people think they are. They have a top 5 defense, and they drafted defense. They have going to be arguably the rookie of the year in Chase Young on that defensive ball. They have a young offensive line, or like a offensive side of the ball. The only thing they are missing right now is a quarterback. They have Ron Rivera as a coach, a very, very great coach. They are missing a quarterback. I mean, they need to put Dwayne Haskins on the bench, and they need to bring in. I said Alex Smith. Like I said, like if who is their second string quarterback right now?
See, how funny is that? Neither one of us know.
Yeah. Well, but I am telling you, if Alex Smith becomes a starter with the Washington football team, they are a playoff caliber team.
Kyle Allen.
Kyle Allen,
second quarterback.
I don't even know who that is.
Alex Smith didn't even dress. So Kyle Allen is the kid that they drafted out of Houston.
Still don't know who he is. So that tells you. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's what Washington is missing on their team, is a quarterback, a reliable quarterback that can not win you games but not lose you games either, right? Yeah. But I still think that
there though. I mean, have you seen his leg?
Who?
Alex Smith.
Yeah, I watched his documentary, like being 11 or like 11 or something like that.
I have a picture of his leg.
Yeah,
that's an actual photo.
Yeah, you are missing that big old skin graft that he got over on the first hump.
Dude, his leg, he came out with that sock on in practice, and when they showed it on TV, like I almost vomited.
Right. Yeah.
What happened when he gets hit in that leg?
What happened?
I'm scared for this guy.
So what happened is they got some dirt.
But I'm saying, what happens if he gets hit again?
Oh, the rod in his leg bends a little bit. I mean, he doesn't have any bone left in there. It is all steel rod, right? So
yeah,
I mean,
man,
I gotta think what's that?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, but I still think the Cowboys are the team to beat in that NFC East.
Really?
Yeah.
See, I look, and I know they're 0-2 right now, but I still think that the Eagles are going to figure things out, and Carson Wentz gives them a much better chance than Dak Prescott gives the Cowboys.
The problem that I have with the Eagles is they did dress what's his face today, their rookie quarterback, Jalen Hurt. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if Carson Wentz is kind of on a short leash right now, and Carson Wentz starts getting some more quarterback reps week 3.
This isn't Carson Wentz's problem. This is an offensive line problem. Their offensive line has not been able to block a damn thing. Carson Wentz got sacked 8 times.
Right.
8 times in week 1.
But with that being said, would you rather take a rookie quarterback to take all those pops and you figure out your offensive line next year and save Carson Wentz, or do you want Carson Wentz to take all those hits?
Did you say the same exact opposite thing when I said the Chargers need to leave in Herbert?
Yes, because I think Herbert is the future in LA. I don't think Jalen Hurt is the future in Eagles.
Huh. That's interesting. I think, yeah, I guess maybe if you're out of it, you go 0-4, 0-5 or something, then yeah, I could see them bringing in Hurts and letting him take the hits and maybe bring in one. But at that point, can you even bring Wentz back as your starter starting next season?
Yeah, because you are technically out of a playoff race. I mean, usually when a team goes 0-3, if not 0-4, I believe their chances of making the playoffs are like 10%. It's right. Very, very, very rare that they make the playoffs. So you can say, hey, to your fan base, hey, we are don't tell them anything. Just be like, do what the Patriots coach does. Oh, he has a hurt toe.
Right.
Perf toe, put an injury on him and put him on IR. So
yeah, I don't see the Eagles continuing to struggle. I think that at some point they'll figure out whether it's how to make their offensive line block better, or B, figure out a way to get around that and let Carson Wentz be more mobile. Carson Wentz can be a very mobile quarterback. So you start game planning, maybe throwing in more option plays or whatever you got to do, quick slant routes, something to stop teams from gaining the pressure on you so quickly and open things up. I still feel like they can figure things out. I have more faith in them than I do the Cowboys.
Let's look at the Eagles' schedule.
Have a ton of talent, man. A ton of talent in Dallas.
Too much talent. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's scary. And for me, that's still the reason why Dak Prescott doesn't get paid what he thinks he's going to get paid, because you have all that talent and you're still, needing to come back from 39 points down to win a game.
Well, a lot of the Cowboys' issue is they still have Jason Garrett's hands on the team. So Mike McCarthy hasn't had a chance to get in there and bleach a team.
You think he was watching the game today like this?
Yeah, he's like, yeah, good job, boys, right? But let's flash back to the Eagles here. Looking at their schedule, they have Cincinnati Bengals at home, which is probably going to be a win. But then they're at 49ers, at Steelers, and then they have Ravens at home. If they do not beat the Bengals, they could start the season 0-6.
No. So if they beat the Bengals, the San Francisco 49ers might be a very beatable team right now.
Right, but
because they're playing with their
at San Francisco.
Yeah, but they're also playing with their backup quarterback, their backup wide receiver, their backup defensive line. Their backup, they pretty much got everybody thrown on IR.
They have Laney Junior College playing for them right now.
Yeah, exactly. So they might be a beatable team. So I get it, though. I get your point. I mean, it's a tough schedule. It's a tough road ahead. Dallas has a tough road ahead, too.
It is not a tough schedule, but they have a tough next 3 weeks. Then it gets pretty easy. Then they have the Giants, Cowboys, Giants, Browns, Seahawks, Packers, Saints. So
yeah,
I mean, it's definitely a 500 type of schedule moving forward. Right. But they got it. They got to get a win next.
That was my argument too with everybody being so high on the Patriots. Was you look at the Patriots schedule, man? They're at Seattle. Yeah. Then they go home and they play, I believe it's Oakland, and then they go back out to Kansas City. Right. And then they come back. So they're going West Coast, back to the East Coast, back West, back East. And they're going back and forth. I think the travel, not only that, but the talent of the teams that they're playing. They got to play that Niners team as well in that mix. Again, we don't know what Niners team is going to be on the field yet. But, that's going to be an interesting story to watch, too, is they could all of a sudden be just a team that goes 1-15 just because of all the injuries they just suffered today.
Yeah, right.
So, all right, man. Well, hey, look, thank you for joining us. Why don't you go ahead and tell the people where they can find you when you're not on the show with me?
Yeah, guys. So I am Michael Buchheister. I'm one part of the Mike and Mike Man Hour. Me and Mike LeBlanc are live on Facebook and our YouTube page every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. East Coast time. That is 12 p.m. Central time. Noon hour. You guys also follow us on iTunes and Spotify as well. As soon as the live show is over, we upload it and it's right then and there. So every Monday through Friday, 1 p.m. East Coast time, MikeandMikeManHour.com is where you can find us as well.
And when he's on Mike and Mike Man Hour, he's usually chiming in here, and every once in a while, maybe he'll fill in for Soup Boss here on the best sports podcast on the planet, Triple Shot Sports. That's all the time we got for now, guys. Thank you for joining the show. Have a great night.
Yep. Have a good night, guys.